Hey guys, it's Sam. Today I wanted to talk to you about my planner failures just this year. So this pile of planners is almost everything that I have tried this year, and I'd like to talk to you about why these planners did not ultimately work for me. Now, the ones that you're more familiar with, I'm going to talk about more briefly, because if they're more well known, at least on my channel, I feel like I've hashed out like my problems with them, and I don't want to take up a chunk of time with it since there's a lot of planners here. I would like to note that not present for this failure video are a couple of different planners. One of them was the Franklin Covey B6, I believe, bound book, which I had intended on using for 2022, and I canned that idea before the year ever got started, and I ended up sending it to a friend, and I don't even know if she's using it, to be honest with you. The other one is, in the midst of my planner chaos, I shared with you a bound day designer, I believe, from Target, which I also did not use and decided to go ahead and return. I did think it would be a great planner. I just wasn't feeling pulled into the size, and I kind of wanted to break away from bound planners at that moment, so I decided to just go ahead and return it. I guess I'll not start in any particular order. I'll just go through the stack as I have thrown it together on my desk here. The first one that I'll talk about, and this one briefly because you guys have seen this a million times before, the personal size planner. This one is the Filofax Malden, which ended up being like my favorite of all time. Cover from Filofax. I really do adore Filofax Malden, but I guess I'm just not feeling drawn to personal size right now. Something about maybe the fact that I've used the Hobonichi Week so much and it's more of the rectangular shape, and wanting to get away from that. I set it all up. I bought new dividers from Caffeine and Paper. I bought different things for it, took all the time to print out all the inserts, tried to move in. It lasted like a day, and I was like, no, this is not happening right now. I just was not feeling any kind of draw to use it. So personal rings is not the thing. And I was using the personal rings after I had used the A6, and I thought this was going to be like the Goldilocks size of the year. This one is a speck A6 from the Ready to Ship Touch Me line. I actually purchased this back from the person that I sold it to a while back, and I'm really glad that I did. And even though I'm not using this size right now, this one is staying in my collection. I ordered a flyleaf to go with it later when I purchased it back from that person, and I think that this size will work for me again in the future. I've just been kind of craving something even smaller and more compact and portable, and so right now the A6 is a little too big for me, which I can't believe I'm even saying that. Like, who am I? But this one is staying around for when A6 comes back into my life. Hopefully in the future. I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. I'm not going to curse things and use the whole P word, but the A6 just ended up being, as far as portability goes, about the same size as personal rings and a little wider. And I like being able to throw everything into my bag, but lightweight. Like, I don't like to carry like the whole house with me. And so that's, I guess, the main reason why the A6 rings didn't ultimately work out. This one has also spent a lot of time on my channel. This is the Hobonichi Weeks. This is the Mega. This is the cover that I waited a million years for. And now I'm not going to be using it. Yeah. The Hobonichi Weeks, I've talked about this one a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it so much, but the rectangular shape, the fight that I have with the paper, it's just a bit much for me right now. I feel like I wanted this to be the one. Like, I felt like I was gonna be like a more responsible person if I could say I made it through the same planner all year. And I really felt like, as I was in love with this planner at the end of last year and had used it for about 6 months, I thought that there was no chance in the world I was going to move out of this. But part of being a stationery lover is loving to write things down with pen on paper. Like, that's the whole point of me not being a person who does digital planning. And I wasn't happy writing in this paper with the pens that I love. And I just wasn't finding a happy place where I was making everything work, and it was causing me stress instead of joy. And it's like, you know, the one thing I can control. And I decided I wasn't fighting it anymore. And it didn't matter if I was a responsible adult saying that I was in the same planner all year, that I needed to do what made me happy. So the Hobonichi Weeks was out. This is a Hobonichi 5-year, and I was super sad about this one because this was an asked for Christmas present this year, and it'll stay around. Obviously, it's got 5 years of stuff in it, but I was finding that as much as I don't journal a lot, this just is so little in space, and it didn't feel natural to me to like spread it over to this side of the page to make more room to journal anything. And I just stopped feeling drawn to come back here and write in it. So I did. I stopped writing in it. I don't know if I'll pick it back up. Like I said, I have a while to make that decision, but for right now, this was also a failure for the year. I don't think it's fair to call this one a failure. This one I love a whole bunch, and I have to be careful with it because I'll find myself using it again. But this is the Pocket Moleskine planner, and this has paper that I adore, and I love that the lines are a little bit bigger. I don't love that this doesn't have lines on this side, and I don't like that it breaks up the weekend in such a tiny way. If it started up here and gave enough space for all days, I think it would work out better. Also, there's really no back pages and doesn't give you a way to do anything extra to it. So I have a couple of different ones of this one. This one is the 18-month that I bought last year. Then I bought the even more slim profile, just 12-month, and that's what I was going to go with. And I was going to try to put my trackers and stuff here on printed out pages. And then I was like, well, since it's very limited in a bound book what I can do, and it doesn't have extra places for me to like paste things in, I decided that if I was making this size work, I might as well just make it everything that I want. And that's what ultimately led me to using pocket rings, which I'm using Pocket Plus inserts if you're new around here, and it's working beautifully for me. But I highly suggest this. I'm still using a Moleskine planner, but at the moment it's the daily version, and I'm using it as a journal. But I'm not going to talk about that a lot here because this is a failure video, not things that won. And I'll do one of those as well, but just not right now. This one I had done an unboxing for, and I never put it up. Yeah, this was pretty easy for me to tell that it wasn't going to work. And it's kind of crazy because it's not a whole lot different than the system that I'm using right now, like in as far as like size goes. But this is about as narrow as I can go and feel comfortable. And these columns are even more narrow than the Pocket Plus. And it was just like, no, I can't do this. Plus, it's just that one like really long section. It does have a few different breaks in here, but it still wasn't enough for me to make it feel useful. And then again, you have the split weekends. I really wanted this one to work. This is the, oh gosh, did I even say? This is the Wonderland 222, and this is in the A6. I love this setup. It's very similar to the Hobonichi Weeks, but this particular layout, but it's in English and it's cleaner looking, and I really like this one. I didn't want to go higher in size than A6, but the A6 is just not going to work for me, so I did a couple of mock things in it. Knew it wasn't going to work. It also came with this little notebook, which I've done nothing with yet, but you can use this as like a daily journal or something. I even bought extra stuff to go with it, and yeah, it was pretty quickly obvious that this was not the one. I don't know why I brought this with me, because this was 2021's Hobonichi, the A6, but yeah, that's not going to work either. I haven't done anything with it though, because I think I'm learning that the things that have failed me in the past, I like to kind of keep around, not just throw out, so that if I get a crazy idea in my head this time next year or this fall when I'm considering planner changes, that I can be like, oh, you know what I think would really be good? I think maybe the A6. And then I can like sit with it and, you know, do mock layouts or whatever, and then realize, no, that's actually not for me. So don't just throw your failed planners out. They can help you save yourself some grief, sorrow, and money out of your bank account if you see your failures from the past. The last two would be the Hobonichi dupes for the weeks, because when this beautiful cover arrived, I wanted nothing more than to make these particular sized planners work for me in some capacity. The one is the Kimbor dupe to the weeks, and there are things that I do like about this better than the Hobonichi weeks. The paper still smears for me. Other people say that it doesn't smear for them so much, but I'm not seeing that much of a difference where I'm like, oh yeah, that's absolutely going to work. Also, there's some things about it that I don't like. Somehow they've managed to make the grids even smaller than the ones in the Hobonichi weeks, and they were already too small for me. Also, this grid where I would normally have put the weather, this is super narrow, and I don't know how to use that functionally, because I'm not going to be able to write that tiny. So to me, it's just either ignore it or it's wasted space. The other thing that didn't work for me about this one is the fact that it did not fit in my custom Speck, which was the whole reason for wanting this size to work in the first place, so that I could use this beautiful cover. Other than that, I really like this one. Its bookmarks are better than the Hobonichi weeks, and I like that it has a cleaner look to it than the Hobonichi weeks. And in some places where the Hobonichi weeks, I feel like really wastes space, this one does not. So it does get points for that. If you have super, super tiny handwriting and you don't mind slightly better paper than the Hobonichi weeks, this might be one that would work for you. Yeah, just not for me. And this is the one that I really thought was going to work for me. Oh boy, like I loved this paper so much. Really, really nice paper. The problem with this one is that it's undated, and I don't find myself particularly excited about dating a planner. Not like we're going out, but having to date it. I don't mind it so much in the weekly view as I do in the monthly, and I just really don't like fighting with this. I don't think that it looks like a real planner unless it's got like pre-printed months for some reason. My brain just can't get around that. I did go through with a stencil and try to do that, but in the end I'm like, okay, these are really narrow and there's no grid for me to write on, and I was just, you know, in the end it was not going to work. And then when I was taking it out of my leather cover to try the Kimbor weeks, the whole back came apart. Now, the Hobonichi weeks itself it has really fabulous construction to it. This cover has been like completely abused, pulled out and tucked in and squeezed in and out of covers that are tighter, and this has never broken down the spine of it. And I barely put this in and out of covers for 2 or 3 days and it broke down. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? So yeah, that was kind of a bummer too. And I bought all of these stickers to date my planner. And now I'm not going to be using it. Yeah. So if anybody wants to email me for these great stickers from Randy.Plans to date a planner, let me know, because I'm not using it. I think I have it for like the next 3 months. I think I have April, May, and June. Yeah, anyway, this otherwise I really liked. I loved that the grid was bigger. I love that it was a little bit more open so that you could make it the way you wanted to without the restraints of, you know, boxes and grids telling you where to put things. But I feel like I went kind of all over the place there for a bit, and at first I thought that people were going to think that I was losing my mind, and maybe if you were watching me when I was going through all that chaos, you did think that I was losing my mind. But I promise that all of it was worth it, because I was able to, when jumping in and out of planners, sometimes multiple planners in the same day, I was really able to see exactly what it was that wasn't working for me, what things were like checking off the boxes, and what things were like non-negotiables. And it led me to where I am now, which I don't think I've been this happy in a planner in quite a while. Like, I'm not finding negatives about it, and that's really difficult. You've really gone somewhere, in my opinion, if I can't find a negative in it. Yeah, so hopefully I didn't just jinx myself by doing this video talking about I'm happy in the place that I am right now in my planner. What about you? I am interested to know what planner or planners that you thought were going to work for you for this year and have already been a horrible failure already in April. I was shocked at how far I had gone down that list just in January or February, and then things got really crazy in March, and I hope that it's past me. I would love to see myself stick to the system that I'm currently in for the rest of the year. I guess time will tell, but right now it's checking off all the boxes. Discuss in the comments. I can't wait to see what you say. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It's the easiest way for you guys to help support my channel. If you're new around here and don't want to miss out on future videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.